So now that we know how to work with a table a little bit, we can talk about accessibility with a table. In your Files panel, I'd like you to open Accessible Tables and Accessible Tables Before. Okay, if I take a look at my Accessible Tables file, I see it has a little bit more style than just a regular table because I have a little header at the top telling about the table, and I clearly have a bold area at the top for my table header. Now at the bottom of my table I also have, let me turn this off for a second so I can actually see. I'm going to just turn off my table widths. I also have part of my table that I'm going to use as a footer, and we've got some more information we'll talk about in just a minute here at the bottom of this. So for instance, if I put a table in like we did before, if I do an insert and table, this table was put in with the header at the top and the accessibility used for my caption and for my summary. Let me cancel out of that for a second. And what I get in my code is a place inside of my beginning table tag where I have a summary, and it's going to be my user group top contributing members. So it gives a description of what's actually inside of that table. And then I have a caption tag showing my top contributors. So that's my table caption. It's not anything that you have to have, but it's nice accessibility wise to include that. And I can also style that with CSS. I have a T head and a T body around each section. So in relatively large tables, the rows can be grouped into sections, giving the table a bit more form. So you can define a header and a footer and one or more body sections for each table using that TH, T-foot, and T-body tags. What is eventually hoped to achieve is that browsers that can see these tags can scroll the body of a table independently of a fixed header and footer. Also, if a table is long and printed, browsers could repeat header information for each page. So it can be very useful, and we can also use that to style things with. Dreamweaver can also run an accessibility validation report, and so it has that as a feature, and we can see whether anything conflicts with our document and a Section 508 guideline. The W3C, the World Wide Web Consortium, says that you should provide summaries, you should identify row and column information, provide an abbreviation for our header labels, and provide a caption. So if no caption, then you provide a title. And if I come back up here, and let's just look at the code itself for this table. I have my table width in here. Now I could have used another tag for my table width, but we're just keeping things simple. I do have a class style for these for future use. And I have a scope in here. So my scope tells a range of cells to behave as though they are the header for those cells, and that way you don't have to define an ID attribute for those. And here's my abbreviation. So for my member name, it's just who. My abbreviation for camera used is just camera, and my abbreviation for number of images posted is just how many. So when I take a look at the rest of my table here, and I scroll all the way down, you'll see I eventually have some class styles for my table rows, and that's in preparation for the next lesson that talks about styling our table. Now at the very end here, we talk about my table sorter, and that really we will talk about more in depth with the next lesson and styling our table.